Hey everyone, Kim here, Abundant Life Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me. We are talking about Brian Thompson's case, although this is one where the suspect, Luigi Mangione, his name is the one that has been propelled and pushed forward in the media, across social media, because people are hailing him as a hero, against the frustrations that people have with the United States healthcare system. And many of us have been affected one way or the other by the US healthcare system, myself included. So I can understand and empathize with why people would feel the way they do surrounding what may have motivated Luigi allegedly to take Brian Thompson's life. We don't, minimize the fact that a life was lost over here with Mystery Mystic. Brian lost his life in a brutal way. However, a lot has come out and evolved since we covered the case on Mystery Mystic Musings. And I did a reading, and I will share the link in the description box down below. And I only did one video. I didn't do, multi-video series. Sometimes I have to break up the reading into multiple videos, but this one I was like, we'll just see kind of what happens and go from there. Well, everything unfolded rather quickly, and I took some snapshots of the cards that jumped during that reading, and we're going to analyze them and see where we're at with the cards that came up in that reading and what's going on now. I'm recording this video Sunday, February 16th, 2025, and I believe tomorrow Luigi has a court appearance, I think at the federal level. He has all kinds of charges. I think it's 11 charges or criminal charges that he's facing in both state and federal levels, one of which is a capital offense, which comes attached with the death penalty. So it's real heavy for Luigi at this point. And he will be appearing in court tomorrow at the time that I'm recording this video. And Investigative Discovery ID Network, for those of us who watch true crime, we know what it is. They will be putting out a documentary. It's a little early, in my opinion, for doing a documentary on this case, but maybe they have a lot of background information on, the victim, Brian, and then Luigi. So it'll be interesting to see what comes up in the documentary. I'm certainly going to be watching it when I can and seeing what else comes to light, and then comparing it to the cards that came up in my reading. So that's what we're going to be doing. So you know me, I love a presentation. I did create a slideshow presentation to look at the cards and show you what came up. All right, that's what we're going to do here. So that's what we're going to do here. Let me get a set. Let me share my screen. Okay. Now, Brian Thompson, rest your soul. God rest your soul. And Luigi, wow, and he has raised, so far, his defense fund that was originally on GoFundMe is now on some other site. I don't know the site, but he's raised over $400,000 at the time I'm recording this video, so almost 500,000 US. And people are steadily, adding to his fund, his defense fund. And he's just launched a website to keep people abreast of what's going on with him and his court cases. And yeah, I mean, like I said, everything kind of took off. Okay. So with all that being said, you all know I have to do a disclaimer. I mean, I'm going to read it to you because what else? You could read it, but I'm going to read it to you. This video is a conversation about facts, theories, opinions, experiences, and paranormal hunches on the featured subject. It is not intended to prove or disprove anything related to any investigation or potential charges. Please do not contact, harass, or intimidate anyone discussed in this video. Everyone referenced in this video is considered innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, not the court of public opinion, nay, nay, but a court of law. All right, friends, settle in, get comfy, okay? Get comfy. We're going to take a look at these here cards. Sacrifice, man, it's just real. Like, I just have to take a moment. We're going to look at these cards and reflect on what came up in the reading. And, I'm going to be transparent when I say I, as a human being, was thinking, okay, what am I dealing with here as I'm doing these readings, and what are the cards really saying? It's very easy to plug in bias as a human being. We all have experiences and things that shape our opinions about situations. So I could really feel myself the tug of bias when I did this reading. You may even hear it in certain things I say if you go back and listen to the reading that I did on this case. And I just share that to say, for those who do these kind of readings, remember, this is for entertainment and educational purposes, these videos, that sometimes your biases are going to bubble up. I was a almost 20-year insurance professional. I was a vet. I have seen it from that vantage point. I have seen it from having to use health insurance as a person who went into it that was in debt because of medical expenses. I have been on the side where I am not getting treatment, but the bills are mounting. And you hear about other countries providing free or low cost healthcare, and you're wondering why, if we're so good and we're so great as a nation, why is it that so many of us are affected by this crappy ass healthcare system? So I have bias, all kinds of bias. And so when I look at this gentleman here, I see him like I saw many of CEOs that I encountered as an insurance professional, like, oh, he's a good guy, But deep down inside, I'm like, I'm feeling away. I don't know, y'all. So a suspect had been arrested. Okay, Luigi. Now, mind you, I did this presentation. I made this like a day or two after he was arrested. But then I didn't do the live stream like I planned. Now I'm doing a recorded video. So some of this is a little dated from that time. But y'all, I hope you love it anyway. He said, folks, deny, defend, depose. As a claims professional, I denied thousands of claims. I was not in health insurance. I worked in property and casualty, which included workers' comp, general liability like slip and falls. My specialty is automobile. And yeah, I denied a lot of claims. I worked for a hot second, literally a hot second, in the start of my insurance career for a health insurer, not United Healthcare, but very boilerplate, I couldn't stand it. It was not, I was like, there's no way I can stay in the insurance industry if I'm a part of it in the health insurance realm. I just can't do it. And so that's when I made the conscious decision to go in another direction with insurance. And I'm glad I did, because I feel better about that decision. These parasites had it coming. Is also another quote from Luigi. I do apologize for any strife and trauma, but it had to be done. Trauma. It was one of the cards that came up. It said trauma, the key word. He had some traumatic experiences himself. He did cause trauma, no doubt, but he also feels that the greater population of the United States has been traumatized by this, what he feels, and I'm just paraphrasing, a corrupt healthcare system. And it's not even just the healthcare system, it's the healthcare insurance system, which is a part of the whole collective of the system, right? So there's health insurance. There is the healthcare professionals who provide the treatment, and render the aid, if you will. There's the patients. And who is all profiting off of all of that? It's just a whole system, right? And everybody plays a role in that. Some of us play multiple roles in that system, like me, and some people are like, what do you know? Like, no, I know. I've had my child had incurred almost it was like 1.3 million US dollars back in 2016 in medical expenses. Thankfully, I had some in health insurance, but not everything was covered. So, and then I was an insurance professional. So, I have two roles, and at least two roles. All of us play a role in this system, and whether we want to or not, it's like we're in it. And I think that Luigi was railing against it in his way. I'm going to share something with you I found in a Wikipedia. I think it's his Wikipedia page. I'm going to read something to you in a moment. He says, I acted alone. I am self-funded. So he don't want no confusion. Luigi didn't want no confusion about it. I'm just going to touch on some cards that showed up here. We had ear, ladder, poppet, candle, wall, fish. The cards that stood out most to me: ladder over wall, needing to stop the ascension of something, needing to block it, needing to put up a defensive barrier against someone ascending. Someone feeling like there's a boundary to access. Manipulation at the highest order. And I'm just saying that now that I'm looking at these cards, the ladder and the poppet card, something, we're hearing things, something coming to light, and the fish. This one in the reading, I knew it was like, you know how they said the fish stinks at the head of it? I always butcher this old little phrase. But basically, there's a saying that when you cut the fish or you kill it, it stinks at the head of it. And that's basically speaking about the healthcare system or the health insurance companies. United Healthcare is a big one. It's what we would call one of those companies too big to fail kind of companies. It's a huge one. And so it stank. I mean, I'm surprised Luigi chose Brian and not the actual CEO over the entire shebang over United. Like, I think Brian was just like part of a subsidiary, a CEO of a subsidiary of the big under the umbrella. But there's some other guy, I think his name is Andrew somebody. He the big fish. So I thought that was an interesting card. And that struck me even when I did the reading back in December. I was like, okay, that stands out to me, and it still does today. We have here, it says, envious of your career and the money you make. Now, Luigi would probably beg to say, no, I don't care that he's got money or anything, but it is envy. It's like he's envious of access. And maybe envy is not the right word, but this is like, it's a deck here. It's with this guy with the mask. Maybe this is the best card that could have fit for this reading that came out of that deck. And so it's interesting. I was thinking when I saw this card that it was like somebody jealous of the CEO, like wishing that they were in his position. No, that wasn't it. We have regret, secretive, helpless. These are definitely Luigi's vibes. I don't know about regret. I don't know if he regrets taking Brian's life, but maybe regrets about when he went to Hawaii and his back injury got exacerbated or re-aggravated. He has a spinal condition, and he's been probably in incredible pain most of his life. He's had a spinal fusion, I heard. and he has had some issues with his spine. And then he went to Hawaii for like this surfing camp situation. And it was like, just probably going out in the water, surfing, and got re-injured. A wave smacked him, sounds like. And, there could be regrets about that, but there's regrets here. Secretive, helpless. They said in the months or even a year up to this all happening, he kind of fell off the map. Even his mom had went to go and hire a private investigator to look up her son or try to find Luigi because he had just completely disappeared. But he didn't all the way disappear. I'll talk about that in a moment. Hostility, denial, and trauma. Now, definitely he's hostile, for sure. Growing hostility, denial. I thought when I did the reading, like coverage denial, claims denial. Like for me, where I come from in my insurance world, liability denial. Yeah. Trauma. That's the one I mentioned to you earlier. He didn't mean to cause no trauma. Well, you cause more than trauma, my friend. But here we are. Next up, we have long hair. Not quite sure how this is panning out yet. We'll see. Male suspect or accomplice led me to believe maybe somebody had an accomplice or accessory after the fact or some assistance. But the male suspect, this guy kind of looks like Luigi. My cards, sometimes when I do readings, they will come out and I'll hear spirit tell me, check this out. This person this is a clue. This picture is representing this perp, or this perp looks like this person in this card or picture. So I got that hit. And I've had it happen a few times during Mystery Mystic readings. It happened when I did the Brian Koberger readings with the Idaho 4 university students. And I got a card with, I think it was it the Seven of Pentacles or the Page of Pentacles? I can't remember. They both kind of look similar, dark hair. And I said, oh my goodness. I said, this person, I feel like the suspect's going to look like this person. I could feel it. Sure enough. And so here we are. Smoker. There were early accounts that someone said that somebody's cigarette, but I don't know how true that is, that maybe the suspect had left behind some like evidence, like a cigarette butt and like a cup, coffee, not a coffee cup, but like let's just say a Frappuccino cup or something like that. I left that behind. I could be wrong about that. I don't know. Don't know if he smokes or not. Not sure. But I remember hearing about that early on. November is interesting. November could come into play in the future as we proceed forward with the case, or it also can represent November 2024. So about 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks before the crime occurred, sounds like Luigi was setting everything up. He was out there preparing in November for this crime. So November is going to be something that I feel like law enforcement or the prosecution is going to heavily go in on about premeditation and planning. And this is an attack. It's a terrorist attack, blah, blah, blah. That's the energy I'm going to get from that with that card. You let me know what else you think November could stand for. It could stand for somebody's birthday or some other thing coming up in the future November. We got 1,000 kilometers. We also have 200 and 500 kilometers at the end. It's like these two bookend one another. 1,000 kilometers was interesting to me because there was something coming up that he may have been in Atlanta. I don't know if that's still the case. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. But the last time I have been really following his case, that he had taken a bus or some kind of deal with him going down to Atlanta on the Greyhound bus. And that would take us to about from New York to Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. That's 1,000+ kilometers. He also did travel to Hawaii, so there's that bit. I don't know. We'll see what else, how else 1,000 kilometers plays out. Large group. I didn't know how to take that when I saw that card. I think I thought about group insurance. I can't remember. I'll have to watch the replay of that, my video, my reading again. Now I definitely feel like it's like a large group of people supporting him. It's a large group of people that he feels like he's representing, the American people, the large group of insured. So we have insurers, the insurance companies, and insureds who pay for their insurance, right? So large group insurance, large companies. So now we see what this large group card was saying, especially sitting underneath the male suspect card. Southeast. I thought that was interesting. Southeast. There was a couple of things with Southeast. Southeast could be Atlanta, going way down 1,000 kilometers, but then we have 200 to 500 kilometers. And guess what? He was found 450 kilometers in Altoona, Pennsylvania. So in the next state over from New York. And that definitely would be east. I don't know if it's south. I think it is southeast, but I could be mistaken. But 450 kilometers. I thought that was like, whoa. Okay, next up, let's just touch on these cards. We have here accusations. Accusations is the first card. And it's interesting to me because a man lost his life. It was violently taken, and we know who it is. The person has, all but said it. Luigi, allegedly, he said it. But the accusations of what is really going on here and what is really a discussion at the heart of what Americans are talking about when it comes to this case. And it's about the people feeling some sense of vindication. And it really has me thinking, and it probably has us all thinking when we think about this case, like, what do we feel about this? Some people are very black and white. Right is right, wrong is wrong. Luigi is wrong. He shouldn't be getting all this fanfare. And then there's some people like, oh, I can empathize. I'm kind of middle of the road. And then there's other people at the end of the spectrum like, no, he's 100% right. Luigi is right. And this is what needs to happen. So to that end, while we're looking at that, I'm going to read something to you that I wanted to share. It was in his Wikipedia. So if you want to peruse that on your own, you can. But I wanted to go here. He said he was not even, so police stated that Mangione wasn't even insured by United Healthcare. He just was like, I'm going to pick the biggest one. Okay, I'm going to pick the biggest one. I want to share with you about his social media presence. He did write a note. We all know about his note, but someone found out his Goodreads, where you do reviews of books. And they found that he had posted on Goodreads a review of Unabomber by Ted Kaczynski. It was on the Industrial Society and Its Future. And it describes Kaczynski as rightfully imprisoned. This is his post, rightfully imprisoned and criticizing his use of violence against innocent individuals. The review was quoted as writing, clearly written by a mathematics prodigy, reads like a series of lemmas on the question of 21st century quality of life. And it's easy to quickly and thoughtless write this off as the manifesto of a lunatic in order to avoid facing some of the uncomfortable problems it identifies. But it's simply impossible to ignore how prescient many of his predictions about modern society turn out. The review, which gave the manifesto 4 out of 5 stars, also contained a quote that the reviewer claimed to have found online. So Mangione found this quote online. The quote contained the lines, "Violence never solved anything," quote, "is a statement uttered by cowards and predators." So I'm going to read that again. "Violence never solved anything. It's a statement uttered by cowards and predators. And when all other forms of communication fail, violence is necessary to survive." That's what he put in his Goodreads post. And so it's like it starts to get you thinking about your philosophical views on such things. The haves and the have-nots. How is it that other countries with less, GDP and all of this and all of that, and not a superpower, is able to provide, what feels like a God-given right of, health care and decency, really, to human beings that are citizens of their country? Why can't United States citizens have that? I don't know. Anywho, it's quite the read, the whole Wikipedia thing. But yeah, anyways, I wanted to read that quote to you because I was like, that is interesting. It's interesting. So the accusations card, and there's a lot of different accusations going on amongst, social media, people thinking that he didn't act alone. We may hear more down the line, on that piece alone. Like, did he really truly act alone? He's saying he did. So I feel like we just take his word for it. But, there's going to be the conspiracy theorists who feel otherwise. We have a live, unloved, unwanted. I feel like he felt unloved, unwanted. From what I understand, Luigi wasn't able to, perform in the bedroom because of his back injury. He's a young man. He's handsome. He's attractive. But I would imagine he felt broken. And that's part of the isolation he did leading up to him assassinating Brian. We have meeting. He seemed to know when the meeting time was for these investors for United Healthcare happening. Meeting. Maybe, we'll hear more about that as well in the coming days ahead. Bail bonds. This card just signaled to me that there was going to be some sort of arrest. I knew that whoever would get arrested for this crime would not be, there will be no bail period on this. But when I saw this card, I was like, oh, somebody's going to be apprehended very soon. We have disguise or change of appearance. This is from my expansion pack, that card out of my chunky Secrets Revealed True Crime Oracle. That came up. He did have a full mass situation similar to this computer. There's probably tons of records, bones. Interestingly enough, he has a spinal condition. When I see these bones, I think of that, but it could be just more secrets coming out related to the computer data, right? Information, tons of information, news and media and press. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Choke. I think that the powers that be want to really try to change the narrative that what he did was wrong. It's really been difficult for them to change the narrative because there's been such a support for Luigi. But they have been with this information, news, media, and the press next to the choke card. This is telling me that they are trying to choke and, filter how we're getting the information about him. Like, how is it being filtered out? How are we, perceiving it and wanting to control that because they don't want more little Luigis popping off is what they don't want. Right? We have paperwork or paper trail. That just ties into that line here with the cards. But it could mean that there's a lot of evidence that law enforcement has on him. A whole paper trail. But this also reminds me of my claims days, child, when we had paper files back in the day. So that's kind of spoke to me back then when I did the reading. If parent, his family is like the Mangiones is like a name in where he comes from, and they got money. So it's kind of it's interesting to me that he would even do something like this, but he did it. I think that's why it's a little bit more poetic because I mean, he didn't have to do this, but he did it. So that also adds another layer of curiosity for people like, you didn't even need to do this. You come from money, you come from a strong family name. What's up? Evidence, friends and associates. I've heard friends and associates are quite shocked by this whole thing. And the weapons. I knew that the weapon would be a thing. I didn't think that they would find it or really be able to piece it all together, but they know that it's a ghost gun and they know that there's something about the gun. I can't remember, but there was something about this particular weapon that also really nabs him, allegedly. I mean, he's innocent and we gonna rock with that. But yeah. So we'll just touch on these cards. They're kind of hard to read here, but it says a closer observation of the victim's living space may provide clues. So we'll probably hear more about that in this documentary, and especially as we move forward towards trial. It's going to be a while, though. There's going to be a lot of motions and, you know, all sorts of delays with the courts. You know, this is a capital case, so just expect that. Surveillance cameras may provide important clues. Yes, yes, yes. Now, this is what threw me off. I don't know. This one threw me in a different direction in the reading. And this is why sometimes it's just best to just let the cards talk and you get out of the way of the reading. It says dating history or killer knew a victim. But that's not the case. And I'm still puzzled by this card. Yeah, sometimes cards matter, sometimes they don't, and sometimes it comes out later, like what this is speaking to. I don't know. Illegal activities played a role. I mean, he was using fake IDs, and I don't know what else he's been up to, Luigi, to cover his little tracks, but allegedly. But yeah. Also, illegal activities. When I interpreted this card, it was more about the victim and the illegal I think, insider trading that allegedly was happening with Brian and company. So, yeah, it's not just the perp with the legal activities. It's also we were looking at victim as that could play a role. Somebody didn't want that information to come out. They had a lot to lose. So that is a natural thing that I was thinking, like, oh, well, maybe it's someone Brian worked with. Who knows? It says already interviewed the perp and a friend knows something. Yeah, a friend knows something. And we'll hear more about that. There might be something that as people start to think about this case, like his friends, Brian's colleagues, maybe remembering something odd, somebody calling in, to ask questions or probe about when's the next meeting or things like that, when's the next investors meeting, we are going to hear a lot more as the case unfolds, as it goes through the courts. And I'm curious to see what investigative discovery releases, if they reveal anything more than what we've already pieced together in the news. If you have some cool updates to share with us, please let us know in the comment section down below. Yeah, this was a doozy. I learned a lot, and it's always good to revisit the cards to kind of see, like, okay, what did I get? What was making sense? What hit? And it's pretty much unfolding the way it hit when I first picked it up, and what's actually different, now. Like, it's how I learn and grow in tarot. And that's why I share it with you. Like, I'm not all knowing, but it always is interesting to see, like, spirit just like was like, no, look, it's this, that large group card that was telling. It stands out even more now in my mind than any of the other cards. The denial card stands out as well. And he wasn't even insured with them. So bear that in mind when you're thinking about Brian as a victim. But here we are. So, I'm curious to hear what you all have to say about this. Let me know what you think about the documentary when it comes out. Keep us posted if you watch this video. If you happen upon this video that I'm doing right now, months from now, a year from now, give us an update. You in the future. Hello. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Do me a favor on your way out. Please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It means a lot. Your support helps me so much. And take very, very, very good care of yourselves, friends. See you all around in the next Mystery Mystic video.